Okay, folks, welcome one and all. Been a while, but I'm back with another bunch of stuff for a book haul. Science fiction paperback book haul, that is. Right, so we've got my favourite thing, Mordor. It's nothing to do with J.R.R. Tolkien. And my third favourite thing, which is a bunch of old, sorry, the cat's photo bombing me, some very old science fiction anthologies from the 60s and stuff. So I've got a lot to get through today. Before we start, an announcement. Oh, Milo, man, go away. I've decided to clear out a lot of my contemporary science fiction paperbacks because the imminent space problem has now become a very real space problem, as in I don't have any. So so I've got a lot of contemporary novels and stuff to get rid of. So if there's anybody out there with any old vintage science fiction that they're not bothered with and they'd rather have some contemporary stuff to read instead, do get in touch with me. I'll stick my email address in on the front page, and we can maybe do a deal, hopefully. Other than that, I'll have to go down to charity shop, which I don't really want to happen, but needs must. Okie dokie, we'll get cracking now because I've got quite a lot to get through. I was pretty fortunate in that I got a lot of door books between 100 and 200 now. Although the first 100 are not all that easy to come by, or some of them aren't. The second 100 can be tricky as well. In fact, before I got this little bunch, I had more of the first 100 than I did of the second. So this will pad it out a bit. Right, okay. First one we've got is door books 103 there. The more I see of these old covers, it makes me realise why I was drawn to door books way back in the early 70s. That's a Kelly Freas, of course. But very nice condition. But the covers of these are just outstanding. I know I bang on about these, but they really are. 107, Rongulat Flux. And Brian Stableford, he did quite a few door books. Number 111 there. I think that's a Kelly Freas also. That one is definitely a Kelly Freas. I thought I had that one actually. I just had an English version of it. 115. The Never-Ending Saga of Rest of Terror. Kelly Freas, nice cover. A little bit sun faded, but nothing you can do with doors. They just, because of the yellow, a lot of them go that way. Right, Star Road 116. Gordon Dixon, another Freas cover. Most of them are in pretty good shape, apart from the odd spine fade. Piers Anthony. That's not Kelly Freas, but I haven't got time to look and see who all these artists are because, as I say, I've got a boatload to get through. 122, the second in the Eyes trilogy, 2 eyes there. I think one eye I showed you last time. And we're at 122, yeah, nice yellow cover there. Frank, I have no idea who that guy is. There's another nice Kelly Freas cover. And in very nice shape overall. Right. I'm not familiar with this chappie either. Ian Wallace, Voyage to Diary. Not such a good cover, but not bad for all that. 127. Nice, nice yellow spine again. Right, I'm familiar with this chap, but I've never read anything by him. Warriors of Dawn. It's got a little bit of crease in there, but it's nice and yellow, and overall very collectible, considering how tricky doors are to find now. If you buy them singly, at least. There's Gordon Dixon 137, the Armmaster. I'm familiar with Gordon Dixon, but I've never heard of that one. Quite a nice cover there. And another never-ending series, the Gore series by John Norman. These are annual, I think, judging by the little banner there, but that one there's a Marauders of Gore. Just curious to know, is that Kelly Freas cover? I hope not. No, it is. Not one of his better offerings, but then again, it's, I don't know, on second thoughts, it doesn't look that bad. You know, Kelly Freas' painting that normally take up more cover space. And then this one's got absolutely no artwork whatsoever to speak of. I don't know what that's all about. Sam Lundwall, I know. The book, no idea. Where are we now? Number 142. Right. So we'll just push those to one side to make room for some more. Okay, continuing with the door, we have Lynn Carter 150. Chandras of World's End. I think there were about five in that series. I think that might be a Michael Whelan cover. Yeah. Right, that is definitely a Kelly Freas. When we jump to 161. A little bit of fading, but what the heck. And then we have the third, the trilogy. That is definitely a Michael Whelan cover. 171. And yeah, I mean, it's, I would say that's mint. Unread, untouched by human hands except mine. And the guy who packaged it up. Right, now this Werner Vinge, he's quite a big name in science fiction, but yeah, everybody has to start somewhere. The Whitling. Oh dear, I've done that cover, I must look out of curiosity. George Barr, yeah. Shame when the artwork goes that small. Right, and here's a lady who did quite a lot of door books, Marion Zimmer Bradley, either as an author or an editor. We're up to the back end of the hundreds now. That one's not, the spine's not in great shape, but it certainly do. And right, interesting cover. Don't like these white covers because they tend to get dirty, but fortunately that one is minty. Okay, there's another white one. Another writer who did a lot for Door. I read one of the books recently, I didn't like it much. But I think a lot of her work's in the fantasy field, which I don't delve into at all. That's a nice one, and where are we now? Oh, we're in the 200s now, 212. Right, here's another one of E.C. Tubbs' Humorist Saga. 219 again. Nice spine, a little bit grubby on the back. Right, and yet again, now I know this is Don Mates. I mean, this guy sort of like flies under everybody's radar, but I mean, he's one of my favourite paperback illustrators, Don Mates. You know, you talk to people about Don Mates and they say, who? But, I mean, I've got an art book of his, it's absolutely beautiful. And I recognise his stuff anywhere. Again, in nice shape. Right, here he is again. His artwork is really sort of distinctive. A bit of crease in there, but not too bad. Where are we now? 255. And this one looks like a fantasy. Manning Norville. Interesting cover. 281. Nice yellow spine. Good old Link Carter again. Wizard of Zal. Bit of a fade. But otherwise in very nice shape. Right, don't know this fella at all, but worlds within worlds within worlds. That sounds interesting. Nice and yellow, nice and minty. Right, 302, so we're banging on a bit now. Right, here's Link Carter again with another one of his World's End books, 310. A little bit of a fade. That's the fifth. I thought there was 5. Must get the other 3. Right. This is part of a series, Magira. That's number 1. Wargamers. I think I've got part 3 coming up. No, I already have part 2, so I think that'll be the lot. 314. Again, apart from the sticker, very nice. Right, and last but not least, a very nice cover. I like red covers. Opti-Man. This has an alternate title, but I can't remember what it is, but I've never heard of either of them. Nice, nice mint. And last but not least, the strangely titled Circle Crescent Star by Anson Dibble, whoever he might be. Don't ask, but it's in very, very nice condition. So that was my little selection of doors, which I was highly delighted with. I think out of the 580 yellow spines, that takes me around 311 now. So just a few more to go. Oh, God. I don't know why I started this project, but there it is. Once you start, you got to follow it through. Okay, now we've got some nice 60s era anthologies, a lot of them American. I used to read an awful lot of these back in the 60s, 70s. I was a voracious reader of short stories then. And that's why I try to read more novels now. So yeah, and then there's and these have also got, you know, very nice covers, especially the American edition. So there's a lovely cover there. I think that's Richard Powers. I'm not absolutely certain, but it looks like his style. He's one of my favourite vintage. Maybe still going, actually. I thought I sure saw something of his recently, but certainly very popular in the 60s. So that's a Belmont edition with Stella line up there. Okay. This is an English one from the early 60s. From Earth. Now that's actually That's not an anthology, that's a collection. Yeah, it's a collection by Paul Anderson. So even the English anthologies and collections from the 60s all had interesting covers, which is more than I can say for a lot of the contemporary stuff. Okay, there's an interestingly titled one. I don't know how rare, but rare science fiction, it claims, by Ivan Howard. Shame about the little price tag that's been ripped off there, but it's another Belmont, so interesting cover. A little bit of a spine lean, but it's 60 years old, so what can you expect? Let's see. People who are writing in it. Quite a few names that we all know and love. Okay, I remember this one very well. I remember reading it, in fact. It's an early 60s one again, from Pyramid Books in the United States. The Unknown. Some of these are not in absolutely sort of like mint condition, or near mint, or even fine, or but as I say, given that they're 60 years old, I think we can forgive a bit of wear. As I've said many times in the past, a bit of wear doesn't bother me because it means they've been read, which is what a book's aim is, to be read. Right, there's an old Mayflower jobby. Again, that'll be the 60s sometime. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, 68. Later, but so, I mean, some of these English ones did have not so great covers, especially in the early 70s. But yeah, sorry though, quite a few well-known people there, Philip K. Dick included. A lot of people don't realise that Philip K. Dick goes way back. I don't know if he goes past the early 60s, but certainly did a lot of stuff in the early 60s. Right, here's a nice minty one from the 60s. August Derleth, he's a very well-known editor from the period. Interesting cover. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's interesting. Yeah, as I say, that one's in near mint. Doesn't say who's, Paul Anderson, Arthur Clarke, a few others. So yeah, that's nice. This one's not in too bad nick either. I mean, this one's really old when I get around to showing it to you. Yeah, 1955. Again, I believe that to be Richard Powers. Science fiction thinking machines. I mean, these are before my time even. I didn't read American anthologies back then. I was only 6, so I didn't get round to it till I was about 10. So yeah, these are all very new to me, and as you can see from the price there, 25 cents. Good grief. Now it's a shame about the dabber on this one, the black dabber, but again, I remember having that one, probably reading it. Space, Time and Crime, Paperback Library, edited by Miriam Allen DeFord, who I know from back then, and we have, yeah, there's a little list of who's on it. Very nice too. I don't think that marker stuff will come off either, sadly, but, well, what can you do? Right, here's another very old one. Humans, edited by Judith Merrill. I've got a lot of anthologies, but nothing that early. I've never even heard of the publishers, Lion Books, but I tell you what, for a 1950s book, it's in great nick, and there's some of the people you might not be as familiar with there. But yeah, that one's from 1954. Again, you can normally tell the 50s from the 60s. They just, I don't know, they just have a different aesthetic, different artwork. The books look different somehow, you know, it's weird. But I don't have too many books from the 50s, so I'm delighted with those. And I suspect that one is a 50s jobby as well. Edited by Frederick Polly. I know he goes back a ways. But there again you have the lady in distress type of cover that was very popular in the 50s on things like Planet Stories, Pulp Magazine. Yeah, I didn't tell you it's on, but again, Perma books, I have heard of them, but I don't have any. And that is actually copyrighted 1952 by Doubleday, which I assume was a hardcover. So that'll be around 53 or 4. So that's possibly earlier than the other two. Right, here's another one with a weird title. Science Fiction Adventures in Mutation. Not sure about that cover. It could be a Powers. It looks vaguely like him. There's a list of the authors above. Again, this will be early 60s Berkeley books, and as you can see, someone has looked after that very well, because it's, well, near mint, I would say. Probably no worse than the day it was bought. Right, here's another nice looking one from early 60s or late 50s possibly. August Derleth again, very prolific editor, August Derleth. These, most of these came from a charity shop, by the way. I just happened to walk in one day and they were on display as soon as you walked in the shop, so I guess I was lucky to get them. Maybe they'd only been there a day or two. So this has obviously come from a collection where the guy has really looked after them. Not sure about that cover. It might be a Richard Powers, but let's have a look to see. No, there's no credit, but that is, that's 1961. Something about these early covers that I love. Another one I remember very well, it's another early edition. That's English one this time, Panther Books, as you can see there. Edited by Hans Stefan Sanderson, who did quite a lot of these vintage anthologies. See a few names there. Panther Books, I would imagine that's early 60s. A little looky. Yeah, that is that's the second printing from 63. Again, not sure about the cover, but it has the Richard Power hallmarks. Right, is another nice early one, so you can always tell. You don't need to look inside really to know that's a 50s book. Groff Conklin, what a wonderful name that is. Again, quite a prolific editor. Quite a few books with his name on it. This one's got 2 short novels and 17 challenging stories, no less. And that, right now, weirdly, doesn't have a date on it. Very weird. It's very unusual. Sorry, yes, it has a second printing from 1956. So even back then, books got more than one printing. Must have been popular. And then the last of the charity shop pickups was a nice Dell. Again, Groff Conklin. 13 Above the Night. Had some weird titles here. This is a Dell. I think this will be 60s. Yeah, 65. First Dell printing, so first paperback. Yeah, so that was that little lot, which I was rather pleased with. I think they all came in at about £2 each, which you can't really complain for such old books, in most of them in nice condition. Right, now this last little batch is from my good pal Peter at West Coast Book Addicts. I missed a beat there. I should have named my channel East Coast Book Addicts, because I'm right on the East Coast where I live. So yeah, he jumped in front of me there, Peter. Anyway, these are all from Peter. We do some book swapping now and again, and I saw these in Peter's last video, and he very kindly sent me all of his duplicates, which I was delighted to take off his hands. Right, now these I used to love. These Ace World's Best. These went under two titles. This will be, where are we? This will be World's Best 1966, although this one is called the second series. They're also printed under as Best Science Fiction for 19... Oh, it tells you at the bottom there, original title, if you can just see it there. Bring it back, so... Yeah, so yeah, I used to love these. I used to read these Best Science Fiction. Now, again, that's in very nice condition. It even has the original advert in there. And say, do you have a restless urge to write? Yeah, I did at one point, but never got around to it. But yeah, I mean that's a nice touch to have the original little advert inside. And then that was the second one that I got off them. That's a fourth series, 1968. I don't think it's credited. I think it is actually. Yeah. Jack Gorn gets a credit. Shame about all the writing there, but say quite a stellar lineup there, as you can see. So I was very delighted with those two. And here's another 1960s. Our mate Groff Conklin again. I mean, these are not in bad shape at all for their age. That's 64, first printing. So again, 60 years old. Now, I've never seen this one about anywhere, so it's edited by Christopher Priest, so must be good. A few names you can see there, including Mr. Priest. He has to edit himself. Anticipations, yeah, it's not one I'm familiar with at all, but it comes from 1978. Very nice. And there's one I was pleased to get, because I've got they did a penguin, more penguin, yet more penguin. I don't know if there's any beyond that, yet more, yet more science fiction, but that one's a nice early penguin edition in the orange and white livery, which is always lovely. I remember when I first started reading, all of my books looked like that. John Wyndham, H.G. Wells, Wonderful stuff. And this one dates from 1962, and it's the third printing. So that must have been popular. Very nice indeed. Right, this one's a more recent one. When I say recent, more recent than those. Beyond Tomorrow. Interesting cover. Actually, Peter's already shown these in his last book haul video, so I'm just showing you what some of you might have already seen. But I thought I would show them, get them out there. And yeah, another one I've never really heard of before. New Soviet science fiction. Pan Books. I would imagine that's early 70s, I would think. 1970, 71, that one. I'm still over 50 years old. That's that one. Right, and last but not least, before I get cut off here, a nice non-fiction. 100 best novels. Right, so I'm going to close it down there, folks, because I don't like to run over the 30-odd minutes in case I have to splice anything due to my low-tech setup. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, subscribing, etc., etc. More comments, please, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye now.